live. Got it. Boom. And here we are. All right, I'm going to mute myself. Go ahead, boo.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yeah? Yes. Okay, good. Awesome. So what I like to talk about today is adversity. And I don't know how many were able to tap into the call the other morning or yesterday morning, but Jasmine was talking about the book she's been reading called Leading in Tough Times by John C. Maxwell. And it really, really resonated with me. And I took a lot of notes. So those of you who missed a call and things like that, I'm going to be able to share that with you. So adversity. So what adversity does is it introduces us to ourselves. So that new version of you. So it really helps you step into that power because you're stronger and you're growing through that that whatever that issue or that circumstance was that you had came up. So that brings us to circumstances. Circumstances do not make the man. It reveals him to himself. Sorry, little traffic. And I jerked real quick. Apologize. But circumstances do not make the man. It reveals him to himself, which is so amazing. Because if you ever think of all great people in life, like they, was introduced to that higher version of themselves after overcoming something that they had to go through to obtain that goal that they were going after, So please bear with me. I'm a little nervous if I talk a little fast. I'm going to, slow a little bit down. If I go too fast, let me know. All right. So next, it is better to be, adversity is a better teacher than success. So basically, you learn from that adversity and you obtain success. So when you're going through that adversity, you're actually learning something from it and you could benefit from it. You could be more strategic the next time. You can know how to move. You know what I mean? So that's what it means by it's a better teacher. Now, the teacher will come whether the student is ready or not. So that means no one plans for, bad things to happen, mishap to happen. You expect to reach a goal or a rank or anything like that, and it doesn't happen. You have to learn from that situation. What can I do differently? What did I do and how can I move forward? So whether you're ready for it or not, you're going to learn a lesson from it. And it's important to be aware, of what's going on and self-reflect. So that way you can move forward more wiser the next time and not just, give up and throw in the towel. If that makes sense. So there are two kinds of people in this world. One that's going to learn and keep going, and the other that don't learn and just quit. Okay. So we want to be the ones that's going to learn those lessons and keep pushing because we're here to do generational things and impact the world. So if we give up, how would that happen? Okay. So you want to make sure you're remaining committed to your goal. So quitting is not an option. Okay. Bear with me because my writing is a little, I did this late at night. I had a long day yesterday, packing, get ready, but I was like, I'm gonna still do this. I agreed and I really want to, show some impact and practice using my voice like Monique said. So instead of quitting and listening to what people say about you, ignore that. Block all that outside noise out and learn to listen to your own self and what you desire and what you want to accomplish. Next, personal momentum. Personal momentum is always greater than group momentum. So again, leading through tough times. If you want to inspire your team, lead the way, lead by example. Work your business, start putting in those habits and inspiring them. Because when you start having your own personal momentum, your leaders are going to rise with you. People are going to join in on that movement. They're going to be attracted to your energy. All right. Whew, sorry, guys. I need to take a little woosah breath. All right, bear with me. All right. Strong leaders turn their wounds into wisdom. Okay. Strong leaders will turn their wounds into wisdom. So again, something that you might have been working towards and you're doing all the right things and all that, do not let that doubt seep in. Turn that and use that as a fuel to go harder the next time and do the things that you didn't do to help you get there. So no one can give you what you deserve or what your dream life is but you. So you have to take control and responsibility of that because there's no one's fault but your own. And we all have to realize there are things, whether it's the way we thought, how we moved, what we said, that all ties into it. So kind of like Monique was saying in the beginning, she was saying you have to go through things to grow through things, you know? Okay, sorry. Saying that, you don't have to understand what you're going through. You just have to have the faith that it's going to happen and you're going to come out on the other side. Faith is so important. Like, it's more real to believe in the things that you can't see, but then to believe in the things that is like a part of your five senses. All right, so next, adversity writes our story if our response is right. So adversity writes our story if our response is right. Treat it as a stepping stone and not as a tombstone, because it's not over. Okay? Fear can keep you in a place that you do not want to be. So you don't want to let that consume you and keep you stagnant. So it can either let you stay still or it can propel you to where you want to be. Okay? So we're not about staying still, we're movement, momentum. Now, I'm going to tell you like a little blurb from, it wasn't a part of my notes, but I was listening to Bob Proctor, a very old tape of his last night before I went to bed. And it's about the power of like your mind, okay? So as far as using it as a stepping stone, not a tombstone. So it was a story about a guy that had like a refrigerator kind of truck thing. It was like probably back in the 1970s in Oklahoma. And he happened to lock himself in there by mistake. And he couldn't get out. He was banging, hoping people hear him. And nobody heard him through the truck, right? So basically, as like time started winding down, he started to feel like, he was dying and, getting cold. And he was writing on the walls. You know how when it gets cold, there's like moist and you can write? He's writing every emotion. I'm feeling cold, colder. It's getting towards the end. I feel like this is about to be my last breath. I'm not quoting exactly right, but that's exactly what he's saying. And then after he said that or wrote that, that was his last breath. Okay? So the next day, when the people got to the truck or they noticed the truck, they found the guy dead, right? But what had happened was they found out that truck, its freezer apparatus was malfunctioning for a few days now, right? So it hasn't been working properly at all. So that truck didn't go under 49 degrees the whole night. That guy thought himself into dying. That's how powerful this is, guys. And it's so, so important to really stay positive and be grateful and just, use your mind the right way. Because that guy did not have to die. He allowed himself to think he was about to die. And his body, you tell your body what to do, it's going to do it. It's going to happen by law. It's going to happen. Period. And that's a true story. It was in a newspaper, in a news post in Oklahoma at that time. So that's very important, guys, to think about. So you want to think of it as you're writing a story that's the greatest stories ever told, to be a great example for the world. Okay? So you have to think of your life like that. Like you're writing one of the greatest stories ever told. Like you're one of the you're the hero and the character of your life in this world, bringing it hope. Because that's what we're here for, impact, right? Not to only change our lives, but people around us. That's what's important. We're not put on this earth for ourselves. We're here to benefit and enhance each other. Okay. And the choice is, you could either, be open-minded with it and understand, your mind and your body and how powerful it is and how important it is to really think outside yourself and how to impact people and enhance people and always be interested, not interesting. That's so important. Sorry if I go long, please let me know. I'm almost through my notes. So I hope you guys are with me. If you need anything repeated or anything, let me know. So,
You're freezing, babe. I don't know if she hears me. Is she freezing for y'all? Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Adversity, it can also give you insight and perspective.
Hold on.
So you have to think about it Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what happened.
Hold on. Let me.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So what I was saying was adversity can give you insight and perspective. You want to see what good came out of it or the opportunity that came once you overcame it. You know, you just got to keep your mind on the goal and stay committed to it and work through it because you can. That brings it back to gratitude and being appreciative to where you are and where you're going, because you don't want to block your blessings and you don't also want to miss the opportunity that's going to come out of it. So you're going to approach it how you see it. So make sure your mind is on point so that way you can approach it in the best way possible. Always be a student, guys. It's so important. No matter how old or young you are, it's so important. You can learn something every day from someone or something. So just continue to pour positive things in your life, in your mind, I'm sorry. And if you don't have many positive people around you, I know we have this community, but there are mentors that don't know who you are. You can hop on a podcast or look up something on YouTube. There's so many different ways, or you can reach out to any of us and, you know, we can share that. So use everything you go through as a lesson, because there's a lesson to learn in everything. Be aware, open-minded, self-reflect, and see where you could be better or what might have caused it, if that makes sense. So we have to start choosing more what we deserve, okay? And not focus less on what we think we do not deserve or what we feel like we can't do or can't.
Let me give her a second. That's that Connecticut. Y'all don't got no service over there. Hold on.
Because the more you rest on that, it's not.
We lost her again.
All right, guys. I totally apologize. I'm wrapping this up, though. I promise. Totally apologize. I guess I'm spitting right now. I don't know if my phone don't want me to be great, but I'm trying. So I thank you guys for bearing with me and being patient. But you want to ask yourself, how much pain are you willing to put yourself through? Like that goes from anything, like resting in negative thoughts or looking at the next person in comparison, not focusing on what you have in front of you or what's around you, and blocking those blessings. That's suffering. Think to yourself, how can I be better? What am I doing? What is
That might have been her phone's last straw. They said, that's it. I'm not giving you back to them. I don't want to cut her off. But go ahead, Megan. You can start and then she can jump back on when she can.
not working?
Great. I thought she was.
All right, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk a little fast so I can get this word out. But it can be temporary and pass unless you let it consume you. And you don't want it to do that because you're just going to lock yourself. That could turn into depression and so many other things. Like your mind and your thought process can be very powerful, and it can also lead to different, sicknesses and diseases. So, and mental health. So just, be aware, guys, and try your best. And if you need somebody, there's always somebody. There's always me. There's always Mo or anybody that we will talk. We have an ear to listen. So when you're feeling, okay, so this feeling failure or defeat, but you're not a failure and you're not defeated. Something better today. You're a better person. So, give yourself a pat on the back and high five yourself in the mirror. Sorry, guys. My list is going crazy. Let's see. Okay. So it's meant to help you become the best version of you. Don't let it stop you in your tracks, okay? Now, when I say that, like, Helen Keller, she didn't let adversity stop her. Like, she was blind. She couldn't see like we can see, you know, and she told herself, I'm gonna do something that scares me every day. If you want some nations or heard it, remember Peter V. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not gonna butcher it, but he was born with no limbs. And look at the life he created for himself. He's impacting so many people, speaking and impacting lives all over the world. He has a beautiful family, like 4 kids. You know, he built a beautiful life for himself. That's like not letting adversity stop you. So if he can do it, if she can do it, we all can do it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna close it with this: lead yourself into greatness. And I truly appreciate you guys for bearing with me on this call, in the car, and all that. Nerves and everything. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, love you guys.
I'm sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Listen, you did amazing. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your word. That was sauce, but we're gonna get you back on another call. So I ain't even worrying about the choppiness. But you guys know that the enemy tries to attack anything that God has his hands on. So that's just what that was. But it's okay because we still heard the message, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm gonna pass it over to my girl Meg. Go ahead, babe.
Hello. I am so grateful for this time, for this space. Monique, the platform that you're creating is magic. Like, this is literally what I have been looking for and dreaming of in Monet for a year. So I just want to start off saying, like, thank you for all that you have created. It is magic. And this topic I'm excited about. I'm also like so sweaty and nervous, but it really parallels everything that was just talked about. And I really want to dive into talking about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, because fear stops us from living our dreams and the lives we desire. So just as like a hint, and I'll put it in the chat later, a lot of this was inspired by another John C. Maxwell piece called Failing Forward. You can listen to the audio on YouTube, or you can read the paperback. It is incredible. And then there's a podcast as well, but I'll kind of get into that later. So I want to start off, drop a 1 in the chat if you feel fear about one or more aspects of your business, reaching out to prospects, posting on social media, talking about your business in person, hosting a call, going live, talking on your stories. Like, we could keep going and going. Okay, there's a lot of us that have a little bit, maybe fear is a strong word, but like a little bit of hesitation, trepidation. There's just something in your belly that you're like, oh my God, the world's going to see me and hear my voice. Okay, so now for a bit of a deeper question. When you experience a failure or you make a mistake, do you take that mistake, that failure, as like, oops, you know, I made a mistake, whoops, I learned from it, I'm going to move on? Or do you perceive yourself as a failure? This is a huge one. So if you make a mistake, if you hurt someone in your life, intentionally or not, do you perceive yourself as a failure? Drop a 2 in the chat if it resonates. And if it feels a little testy to put in the chat, it's okay. I'm feeling this right now. And the reason why I'm talking on this is because this is the medicine that I need as well. So I am here cracking my heart open, and I'm so grateful that you guys are all here for this. So fear is a natural and intrinsic emotion designed to protect us from perceived threats. So throughout history, the human mind adapted and evolved to look at a situation and discern potential threats from the benefits. And while that's incredibly important, you know, we were out on the prairie, like hunting large animals and game, like we had to be able to perceive fear so that we didn't die, right? But as we evolve, as we grow as a society, our physical safety overall is it's safer to be alive and be a human now than it was a few hundred years ago, right? So it's an incredibly important piece of survival. But when it's taken to the extreme, when our physical safety is not being threatened and we're fearing the smallest pieces of our lives, it wreaks havoc on our self-esteem, on our confidence, our productivity, our happiness, and our overall well-being. Fear is completely natural and normal, but like anything, it can cause the mind and the body to exist in fight or flight state. So sympathetic versus parasympathetic, and I think Monique's talked on this a little bit. When you're living in a state of fight or flight, you are just reacting to the world. So it's easy to get agitated, angry, frustrated, scared. Like your emotions are going crazy because your body, your nervous system thinks that you are being chased by a cheetah, thinks that you're about to die. And so your body is trying to stay alive, and you might just have a little bit of anxiety about going to the grocery store. So there's a really like important distinction there. It's natural and normal, but it makes it incredibly difficult to move forward, to take healthy risks. And I say that, you know, healthy is important. You can take really reckless risks as well, but we're talking about our business, things that are going to move our lives forward. And it ends up incapacitating us. It ends up making it to the point where we can't even see beyond our own fear, our own ego. We're like immobilized in our fear. So before we talk about tangibles and how to move forward, let's talk about all the things fear is not. And this piece in John Maxwell's book, I'm probably going to read this book like over and over and over. So there's a few things that he lays out, right? People think failure is avoidable. It's not. Failure and making mistakes is how we learn. When we were learning to walk, we failed, we fell, we hit our heads, we bumped our bodies. Like it was a really frustrating process, right? But we did not give up. It's the same with learning how to ride a bike, learning how to talk, like all of the things that we know now as like natural pieces of our lives came from immense failure over and over and over again. You cannot escape failure in your life. If you're not failing, you're probably not moving forward. You're probably not taking a lot of action. I'm going to raise my hand on that one, SB. He lays out rules for being a human being. You will learn lessons. There are no mistakes, only lessons. A lesson, this one hurts. A lesson is repeated until it is learned. So if you keep getting the same experience, the same lesson over and over and over, and you're like, damn, what is this? Why am I here again? I thought I healed. I thought I'm over this. It's because you haven't learned the lesson yet in full. You will act differently, you'll move differently once the lesson is learned. If you don't learn the easy lessons, and I had to read this probably 10 times before it set in. If you don't learn the easy lessons, they get harder. Pain is one way the universe gets your attention. If you are feeling pain in your life, and I know we all do, sometimes it's little and sometimes it's major. A relationship is hurting, or we're about to get fired from our job, like big things. That is universe, God, energy, whatever you believe in, respectfully, it is that energy communicating to you that there is something that needs to change, and it starts with you first. You'll know you've learned a lesson when you make different moves, when your actions change. Second, people think failure is an event. It's not. It is a process. John describes failure and success in similar ways. If you fail a test, it doesn't mean you are a failure. It means you neglected some part of the process leading up to the test. Maybe you were staying up all night. Maybe you were not eating well. Maybe you fell asleep in class. Like you tried, you were paying attention to the material, but there's a couple pieces that you missed. Or maybe you don't care about the material and you're like, F it, I'm just going to keep going. And It's going to show up. You're going to get an F on the test, right? But it doesn't mean you're a failure. If you don't hit your goals or your rank, you're not a failure from that. There are lessons in you not hitting your rank, in not getting a paycheck, in not getting that close, whatever is going on. There are lessons there that some are going to be quieter than others, and some are going to be screaming really loud. If you don't get paid every Friday, that's a loud ass lesson. In not you, there's nothing inherently wrong with you or what you're doing, but you can do something a little bit different to actually get results. So yeah, there are pieces to the process you didn't give enough intention and energy to. Next, people think failure is objective. It's not. You are the only person who can really label what you do as a failure. So maybe you dropped out of college, or maybe you made some major change in your life because of this business, because you've seen the vision, and people in your life think you're crazy. And they're like, you're going to fail. You're not going to make this. It's not going to work out. The only person that can define the actions and the moments of your life as a failure is you. You're going to hear it everywhere, and people are going to judge. There's this audio reel clip, and it's like, people will, if you're doing great, people will judge. If you're doing bad, people are going to judge. They're going to talk. So no matter what, people are going to have their opinions, but you're the only one that can truly define your success or failure. Your perception of and response to your mistakes determine your actions and failures. Next, set your failures and mistakes as guide, as setups rather than setbacks. So if you took 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, shit, you still took a step forward. Those steps back are going to catapult you into the momentum, into what you have to do next. And I think every level has a new devil, right? So every level of success that you make, achieve, dream of is going to have another point where you're going to have to fail bigger than you did before to keep moving forward. It's kind of hard to accept a little bit, but when you truly lean into it and you start to see the turnaround, it is so potent. People think failure is the enemy. John says, when we give ourselves permission to fail, we at the same time give ourselves permission to excel. Guys, we're not going to move anywhere. We're not going to do what we want in this business if we don't fail, if we don't send some cringy messages, if we don't compliment the person in the grocery store line, if we don't do these things that really push us out of our comfort zone, we're never going to see the things that we want. Sitting on the couch, and I'm guilty of this, sitting on the couch, journaling, manifesting, I'm all about it. But if you're not taking the action, you're going to be sitting on your couch journaling and manifesting. It's not going to take you where you want to be. People think failure is irreversible. People who see failure properly take it in stride and know it is a small step in their process. Next, people think failure is a stigma. Mistakes are not a permanent marker. The average entrepreneur, I loved reading this fact because I was in another network marketing business before this. And I was so embarrassed and ashamed when it didn't work out. And I was like, man, I'm going to get judged a lot because I want to start this other thing, but this is where my heart is pulling me. The average entrepreneur fails at 3 to 4 businesses before they ever see any level of success. You, of course, have the people that like start Monet and they have their caddy in 6 months, but the average person is going to try multiple endeavors. I don't know about you guys, but I have worked for many, many, many employers, and I thought I was like defective or broken. I'm like, why do I not love my jobs? I'm realizing it's because I don't want to work a 9 to 5. It's not me inherently. It's not you. It is your circumstance and how you see it, right? A huge one. People think failure is final. Again, failures are just small missteps. In this day and age, with putting yourself out on the internet, with cancel culture, however you feel about that, it can be really unnerving, because mistakes to the public eye, to the people watching you, you might be projecting it as this huge thing. If you make one mistake, if you say Rejuvenate oil wrong, or you put something, spicy up about pyramid schemes and it gets taken the wrong way, like, we think that it's going to be the end of our life, but it's not. Like, we're going to learn and we're going to do better next time. So to end this off, and thank you guys for your time, I appreciate you so much. Just some quick tangibles that John kind of laid out in the book. I've been doing so good, and then I got excited because just to say, don't be afraid. Like, have you ever been anxious and someone says, well, just don't be anxious? And you're like, okay, thanks. Well, I'm afraid. Okay, well, just don't be afraid. All right, well, tell me how to not feel fear so that it doesn't immobilize me. Don't just tell me to not be afraid. Like, realistically set the expectation, because if you sit and you think, like, when I'm successful, when I'm SED, when I'm balling, when I have this huge team, like, I'm not going to be afraid. You watch the SEDs and they're showing their chests are still red, guys. They're still afraid. They're getting up on stage in front of tens of thousands of people. Nick Vujicic, I'm sure he still gets a little nervous when he gets on stage, but he gets up there and he knows that God, universe, energy is with him and within him. And shit, he gets up there and blows everyone's minds, right? So even the most successful people that we're like aspiring to be like are afraid. So set the realistic expectation and like make friends with your fear is something that John speaks on. So just a few tangibles. Realize that there is one major difference between average people and achieving people. It's all in perspective. The average successful person fails so many more times than the dreamer, than the person that is just hoping that it's going to happen for them someday. Second, learn a new definition of failure. This is what this whole topic is about. It's not feeling afraid. It's not having fear. It's redefining it. It sounds crazy, but like, get excited about fear, because every time you reach out to someone about this business or about the products and they have something to say or they're not interested, like, the redirection is a blessing. And if they're not your person, you're going to have to drag them. We're not here to convince people. We're here to show people what this is and how it impacts us and why we love it so much. And then like to continue to share that, right? So redefining failure. Third, remove you from the failure. You are not a failure because you have made mistakes. Huge. Take action to reduce your fear. Immobility is going to inflame your fear. If you're afraid of something and you sit and you overthink it and you contemplate it and you ruminate on it, it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you have a steel cage around you, and it's going to feel a lot harder to get out of it. Change your response to failure by accepting responsibility. This is kind of a tough one to hear again, but be accountable. Like, life has, you've had some experiences, people have hurt you, but you have to take responsibility and accountability for how you react. And if you're allowing these people, these events, these situations to continue to happen in your life moving forward, accepting responsibility is huge. It will set you free. Don't let the failure from outside get inside you. Make a mistake, but know that you are whole, that you are worthy, that you are capable. Know that, like, from inside, and do whatever you need to do to remind yourself of that. Say goodbye to yesterday. Don't dwell on your mistakes. See them as stepping stones. Could say that over and over again. It is so huge. Change yourself and your world changes is the next one. Just keep going. Get over yourself and start giving yourself. We are in the business of service. We are in the business to help people. Yes, we're here to make money from our phones. Yes, we want the trips. Yet whatever is motivating you, whatever is getting you out of bed, whatever is getting you to show up for your business, like keep using that as a motivator. But at the end of the day, we're not going to see success in this unless you are of service to other people, unless you're helping people grow. Again, I'm guilty of this. I'm the personal development queen. I love mindset work. Like that is my comfort zone. And so I have seen not as much success as I want because I'm working on my own brain so that I can show up for other people. But I've just been showing up for myself, and I'm like putting a mirror up right now. Like I have to show up with the lessons that I'm learning vulnerably and raw and say like, yo, this is kind of hard, but I'm here for it. And being of service is going to change your business radically. The last one, which one was that? The say goodbye to yesterday. Don't dwell on your mistakes. Change yourself and your world changes. I think we're the last couple. Let me know if you have those. Next up is find the benefit in every bad experience. Even the worst things that could happen in the world to you, there is some sliver of goodness, of a lesson in there. And I don't want to say that to like diminish pain or diminish things that you've gone through. We all have things that have like radically changed us as people in the way that we interact and engage with the world. But there is goodness in everything. There is goodness and opportunity in the end of relationships, and getting fired from a job, in making a major flub, in falling up the stairs in front of a crowd of people. Like there is a little goodness in every situation. You learn how to hold yourself better the next time. If at first you do succeed, try something harder. This one hit me from a call a couple days ago that I was on with my direct upline. She said, we'll move from one comfort zone to another. So if your comfort zone right now is like talking on live, talking on your stories, take it one step farther. Like continue, like you're going to probably feel a little bit of fear every single day you're in this business. Embrace the process, because if you're trying to avoid fear, you're going to avoid the success, and you're ultimately going to avoid the incredible high that you get from hitting your rank, from getting that paycheck, from paying off your debt, like whatever comes after that. You're going to block your blessings if you're trying to avoid fear. Almost done. Learn from a bad experience and make it a good one. I wrote this last piece. These are my own words. How are you going to tell the story to yourself and others? Cool. So you made a mistake. You flubbed. You had a bad live. You had a bad like prospect call. You said something stupid. Okay. How are you going to tell that story in the future? Are you going to say like, I'm terrible. I suck at this. Like I'm a bad person. Are you going to reel in those thoughts? Or are you going to say, man, I was in a dark space. I made some mistakes, but look at all of the magic I have created from that, because I never wanted to feel that again. Like what story are you going to tell moving forward? We're creating these stories. Like every single moment that we're in this business, that we're in our lives, we're creating the stories that we're going to tell people later on. 3 more. Work on the weaknesses that weaken you. Personal development, what we're doing here on this call, is critical to this business. If you think that you have a rock solid mindset, I promise you there is an aspect in this business that is gonna slap you. You are going to find your weaknesses, but with that, there is a resource to get better. So find a book, find a podcast. Guys, I literally have been telling myself, I don't know where it is on my bookshelf. I have been telling myself forever that I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to have conversations. I literally bought a book called Ask Powerful Questions. It's amazing. So if there is a book, a resource, a YouTube video out there for literally any area that you are struggling in, and if you can't find them on your own, we have all of these group chats. We have this platform, like we all have each other. So utilize that. Like what we have here is very special and unique and rare. Like, it's not something that everyone has access to. So be very grateful and lean into the resources. Don't let your weaknesses stay the reason why you're not moving forward. Understand there is not much difference between failure and success. They work hand in hand. Kind of just re-enunciating that last one. Get up, get over it, get moving. Simple as that. Action improves confidence, produces results, and around the cycle goes. So when you're building your confidence, you want to take more action, and more actions means more results. And then you get results, and then it builds your confidence, and then you want to keep doing it. It's a cycle, and it's beautiful and epic. And you're going to start to see it. You just got to like get over your past failures, learn from them. I know it's easier said than done to just get over it, but you got to do it. Last quote from John: failure is not final. Failure is a function to success. We got to do it, guys. So get out there, get messy, get sloppy, do what you got to do. Do it with heart. Obviously, don't spam message people and like do it, you know, like do it the right way, but like don't be afraid to make mistakes, and people are going to judge you no matter what. So just move with heart. Know that you are whole and worthy, and you are deserving of everything that you want in this life. And no one's coming to give it to you. No one is coming to save you. Like, if you want these things, you got to make it happen, and you'll start to see more and more and more people supporting you and rooting you and cheering you on. And eventually you're going to be lucky. You're going to be one of those people that got lucky, and you're going to sit back and you're going to go, no, I worked my butt off to get here. We're all going to get there, guys. And I am so excited to see what everyone does over the next few days, months, year. Can't wait. Thank you for your time.
Love it, love it, love it. Oh my goodness, guys. Can I get some ones in the chat if y'all got some sauce from that? Let me pin myself real quick, because that, listen, this call right here, I'm like, hold on, I got to rewatch this call. I'm so excited to go back and rewatch it, because all the nuggets that were dropped, my hands couldn't even keep up with you guys. Like, I'm so grateful for you guys. The things that were spoke about, especially with that, first of all, that book, John Maxwell, you said Failing Forward. That's what it's called, Failing Forward. Yeah. Okay. I definitely need to get that book, because wow. I mean, I was at My Nations, right? For those of you that weren't, and John Maxwell actually, he spoke, right? But wow, like the nuggets that are in that book, and that's a little thick book. So I could only imagine, right? Like, and I know he speaks volumes, right? He is such a man of wisdom. He's obviously older and been through a lot of things, right? A lot of failures and a lot of success. But he's glorified for his success, as I spoke to you guys before about. People don't glorify your failures unless you quit, right? Unless you decide that at that moment that you fail, you're quitting, and now that's what you're defined as. But if you continue to go forward after those failures, you are only going to be recognized and glorified for your success. Don't worry about, guys, how many of us don't know that Bill Gates was in debt at one point in his life, right? And now he's considered one of the richest men in the world. Like, that's just something that we have to understand. It's harder to see that picture when we're in the mess, but understand, like I always say, that our mess is our message, and everything you go through, you can grow through, but you have a choice every single time. You either choose to grow through it or sit in it and not learn anything from it. And like she said, like Megan said, you're going to continue to learn that lesson, and it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder, for a fact. It's going to pull you further and further away from the success that you dream about. So guys, fail forward. We got this. I love you guys so much. I don't know if anybody has anything to say. No, I like to leave the floor open. Anybody want to volunteer for next Friday? I don't know. Y'all could DM me. We could talk about that in private, but I appreciate you guys. Again, I'm so grateful for this platform. Grateful that you guys take a moment out of your day to come get poured into, because it is so important that we do that we fill our cups and constantly fill them. We have to remain students, guys, and remember that we need to be teachers as well. The information and knowledge that we get, we need to pour into other people. We also need to apply it. So I don't think anyone has anything to say. So I'm going to allow you guys to be out of here and go work your business, go work whatever you have to do. Have a great weekend, guys. Be safe. please, because there's crazies out there and I know it's Halloween, I'm gonna sit my little old self at home and give out candy for the first time in my life. So I'm okay with that. But guys, have a great weekend. And that's all I have for you guys. I will see you guys same place, same time